Dear students, in today's class you are going to study about a new lesson, chapter 4 of your history textbook entitled Tribals, Dikus and the Vision of a Golden Age. What are the aims and objectives of this particular unit? After completing of this lesson, you will be able to understand about the various tribal communities in India, their socio-cultural aspects, the various tribal communities that are existing in India today, the role of the tribal chiefs in protecting their rights. Students, what is the meaning of the following terms and concepts? Kinship means relatedness. Tribal people share similar characteristic features. What is tribal culture? Tribal culture is the arts and manifestations of the tribal people, their ways of life. It denotes their dances, music, paintings and instruments they use. Jhum cultivation. Jhum cultivation is a practice followed by the tribals using slash and burn agriculture. Hunter gatherers. Hunter gatherers are the people who primarily depend upon the wild food for their survival. Money lenders. Money lenders are the private people who gave money to the tribal people for their needs. Pastoralists. Pastoralists are sheep and cattle herders. Tribal chiefs. Tribal chiefs refers to the tribal leaders. Forest laws. Forest laws are the laws enforced in the tribal regions. You have a new term called Dikus. The Dikus are nothing but outsiders. They are Shahukars, money lenders. These are the people who came to the tribal areas and caused a lot of misery and suffering to the tribal people. Let us come to our general discussion of the topic. Tribal communities are the earliest inhabitants of any country. In India, there are more than 700 tribal communities existing today. They are living in the remotest areas. They are living in the thick forests. They are also living in the hilly regions. They constitute 8.6% of the total population. According to the latest survey reports of the 2011, they constitute nearly about 86 million population in the country. They are intertwined with the nature, very calm people, nature loving children of the nation, and at the same time they live with the harmony of their environment. They consider forest as their mother and father. However, tribal communities are pushed back and now today you can find them in different stages of life. Now students, you may get question in your mind, how important is the study of tribal communities in India? The study of tribal communities in India is very important because of the kind of descriptions that has been made in the literary texts. These tribals has been described through various kinds of terms that has been used. In the ancient, medieval and modern times, they have been called as Adivasis, scheduled tribes, but however, these tribals they live in the socio-economic environment of their own. Now students, what is the definition of a tribe? The common definition for a tribe is a group of people having a common ancestry or ancestor, a common culture and live in their closed society. The tribal communities are living in almost all parts of India. Students, look at page number 41 of your textbook. You have a map consisting of various tribals in India. Read the map and understand the different kinds of tribes existing in India today. You have tribals in the northern region, in the western part of India, in the southern part of India, in the eastern part. You have also tribals in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. That means that these tribal communities are living in almost all parts of the country. Look at this map. In northern India, states like Jammu and Kashmir, Delhi, Haryana, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, you have tribal communities like Gaddis. One Gujars, Bhotias, Saharias and Bhils. In Western India, in states like Gujarat, Maharashtra and Goa, you can find One Gujars and Rathwas. In Central India, states like Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, you find tribal communities like Baigas, Banjaras and Gonds. In southern part of India, states like Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Kerala, Karnataka, Odisha, Jharkhand and West Bengal, you find some of the tribal communities like Koyas, Banjaras, Gonds, Shantals, Mundas, Warans, Parjas, Bondas, Koyas, Khons. In northeast states like Assam, Meghalaya, Manipur, Mizoram and Nagaland, we find some of the tribal communities like Apanis, Nishis, Nagas, Khasis and Rhinos. Students, you also have tribal communities in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Some of the tribal communities are Zavaras and Sentinelese. Students, who are these tribal communities? What are their characteristic features and what are their occupations? During the 19th century, the tribals followed the following occupations: jhum or shifting cultivation, hunting and gathering, herding of animals and settled agriculture. What is jhum and shifting cultivation? How did the tribals followed this type of cultivation? It is known as slash and burn method of cultivation. The tribals first selected a patch of the land in the forest region and cleared that particular patch of land. They used to till the land with their primitive implements, whatever they were having at their possession. They used to cut the herbs and bushes and made the sun rays fall on the strip of the land which they have selected. Later, they used to burn these slashes, woods and the trees to make into ash, used to put it in the land for better agricultural purpose. The ash has certain kind of mineral qualities with it. Later, the tribal communities, whatever the seeds they were having, used to spread in the land for the growing of the cultivation. After growing the cultivation for 3 to 4 years, whenever they are not getting the required amount of the crop, in turn they used to move to other place for the agricultural purpose and then follow the same kind of jhum or shifting cultivation. Now also we can see this kind of shifting cultivation in northeastern regions. You have understood what was shifting and jhum cultivation. The second most important activity the tribals they have followed was hunting and gathering activity. How did the tribals did this activity during the 19th century? As I told you earlier that the tribals was heavily dependent upon the forests. They used to go deep into the forest, used to collect fruits, nuts, berries and other forest materials for their survival. Whatever the miners forest produce they have collected from the forest, they used to take it to the shandies, markets and used to sell them for their economic survival. The forest is an important place for the growing of various kinds of medicinal plants. The forest is also an important place for growing of salwood, teak wood. They used to collect various kinds of tubers, herbs, honey and other forest materials for the sake of their survival. Whatever the tribals used to collect from the forest, they used to share among themselves. Thus, they felt the forests were the most important part of their life. Look at here. In some of the regions, mahua flower is considered to be very precious. Mahua flower is sold for money. Mahua flower is used for various kinds of homemade food and in some of the places mahua flower is also used to brew the country liquor. The second one is the palash. Palash is considered as the paila of the forest. The other one is kusum. The local villagers used to visit the tribal areas for mahua flower, palash and kusum for the colors, and the local people for various kinds of activities. Another very important activity that tribals followed was herding of animals. As we have already discussed, some of the tribal communities were pastoral nomads. They used to go from place to place with their goat, sheep, camels and other animal breeds. They used to sell and buy and trade with their animals with the local people. They used to sell their milk products and other animal products for their sustenance. The tribal people used to search better green pastures for the fodder of their cattle. The Van Gujars of Punjab region, the Sugalis or Lambadis of Andhra and Telangana region, the Bakarwals of Kashmir can be considered as the best example for this kind of tribal communities. The fourth important activity that the tribals followed during this particular period was settled cultivation. How did the tribals settled as cultivators and agriculturists? Students, some of the tribal communities, instead of moving from place to place like herders and nomadic people, what they did was that they settled as agriculturists by following settled agriculture. What do you mean by settled agriculture? During the 19th century, some of the tribal people also ruled their kingdoms. They have their forts and they have their lands. These tribal communities systematically plowed their lands through their implements and started developing agriculture. They developed agriculture in the regions that they lived. Thus, they got the land rights. They are the owners of the land. During the 19th century, the colonial people had developed a kind of an impression, and the impression was that these settled agriculturists like Gonds are far superior and civilized than the tribal communities who were living in the forest regions. In some of the tribal communities, they have a very close clan relationship. This clan relationship empowered them to become as the tribal chiefs. For example, the Mundas of Chota Nagpur. The land belongs to their entire clan. They used to occupy the clan rights. All members of the clan were regarded as the original descendants of the clan who cleared the land first. Very often, some members within the clan acquired more powers than the others. Thus, some became the chiefs and others became the followers. The powerful men used to rent out their lands to others instead of cultivating by themselves. The Britishers also held another view that those people who are living in the forest regions needs to be civilized and needs to be settled. Now, I want you to do this particular activity in order to understand the occupations of the tribal communities during the 19th century. Students, look at this crossword puzzle. With the help of this puzzle, you have to find out the occupations followed by the tribal communities during the 19th century. You have boxes across the puzzle and you are also having the boxes downwards of the puzzle. I will supply some of the words basing upon the clue that you have to find out the occupation followed by the tribal communities. Clues across the puzzle. The first one, outsiders. The second one, supplied kusum and palas flowers to the weavers and leather workers for making dye. The third one, the gaddis of Kulu. The fourth one, this central Indian tribe never liked to become laborers. The fifth one, a field left uncultivated to recover fertility. Sixth one, a term used in Madhya Pradesh for shifting cultivation. 7. The one Gujars and Lambadis reared this. The 8th one, flour eaten or used to make alcohol. The 9th one, they reared goats in Kashmir. The 10th one, shifting cultivation. How did the British rule affected the lives of the tribal communities? What were the results of the British rule? These are the two important issues you are going to study here. Firstly, the introduction of the forest laws. Students, forests are directly connected with the lives of the tribal population. Forests cannot be separated from them. It is very unfortunate that during the 19th century, the colonial administrators had introduced a large number of forest policies on the lives of the tribal population. The introduction of the forest laws severely affected the tribal life. The Forest Acts of 1865, 1878 and 1927 uprooted the traditional rights of the tribal population. These forest acts curbed the rights of the tribal people. Tribal people cannot enter into their lands, they cannot move freely, they cannot collect the forest production and sell it in the markets. The tribal people have lost their traditional rights on their lands. What was the impact of forest policies on the tribal communities? According to the forest laws of the colonial administrators, the jhum and shifting cultivation of the tribal communities were stopped. The grazing rights of the tribal people has been taken away. Further, the colonial administrators had occupied the reserved forests of the tribal communities. These reserved forests are very rich with the tribal products. The colonial administrators also established police stations, jails and courts in the tribal areas. They wanted to fully control the tribal regions. The colonial administrators also constructed roads and railway lines in order to export the material very quickly from tribal lands to the plains. The tribal people were asked to evacuate their lands. Why did the British introduce the forest department in India? Students, we have already discussed that some of the tribal communities were asked by the colonial administrators to evacuate from their lands, but the colonial administrators felt very difficult to find the labor for their activities in the tribal lands. Under these circumstances, they wanted the cheap labor from the tribal communities. What did the colonial administrators do? The colonial administrators asked some of the tribal communities to continue with their shifting and jhum cultivation. The colonial administrators also took the help of local villagers in order to do their activities in the forest regions. In order to achieve this goal, the forest department was established in the year 1864. Dietrich Brandis was appointed as the first Inspector General of Forests in India. Students, what happened to the jhum and shifting cultivators? The tribal communities used to move from place to place without any occupation. They used to practice jhum or shifting cultivation in their lands. They used to do primitive agriculture. Under these circumstances, the colonial administrators felt that these tribal communities should be settled in one place and settled cultivation has to be introduced in their life. This is to bring more revenue and to collect more taxes from the tribal communities. Thus, the Britishers introduced the land revenue settlements in the tribal regions too. According to the new regulations of the government, the lands of the tribal people has been measured, taxes were imposed on them and fines were collected from the tribal people regularly from time to time. Unable to bear the burden of the colonial administrators, some of the tribal communities revolted against the British administration. Another very important issue is what happened to the tribal chiefs. Students, before the advent of the British, the tribal chiefs used to enjoy their traditional rights. They are the masters of the jungles. The local tribal chiefs enjoyed their autonomy. They managed the tribal lands very effectively. The colonial authorities asked the tribal chiefs to pay tributes regularly. If they do not pay, the colonial administrators used to confiscate their estates, their lands and their property from the tribal chiefs. The tribal chiefs were also forced to obey the forest laws. Unable to bear the brunt, some of the tribal chiefs revolted against the British. Students, during the late 19th century, some of the commercial activities introduced by the colonial administrators also severely affected the tribal life. The colonial administrators introduced mining and tea plantation work in some of the tribal areas. They recruited the tribal people in these plantation and mining operations. Their conditions were very miserable in the plantation estates. Thus, the colonial administrators stopped the tribal communities entering into the tribal lands. Students, in the late 19th century, many of the money lenders and traders used to visit the tribal lands in order to buy their products. They used to come with their trucks and used to export all the materials produced by the tribal communities. The money lenders also used to give lot of money to the tribal people in order to produce the materials whatever they want. Students, a large number of tribal revolts that has taken place in India. The Kolis revolted in 1831 and 32. The Santals rose in revolt in 1855. The tribals in central India in the Bastar region revolted in 1910, and in Maharashtra in Warli region the tribals also revolted against the British in 1940. Thus, we can see a large number of tribal revolts throughout the country. Students, all these revolts further led to a great upheaval in the form of a revolt in 1857, which you are going to study in the next chapter. Students, I want you to do this small activity for a better understanding. Read the following statements and state whether these statements are true or false. The British introduced the forest laws to encourage and develop the tribal communities. Tribal people faced several problems with the introduction of the forest department by the British. Tribal chiefs enjoyed power, prestige and autonomy during the colonial period. Tribal people were forced to pay heavy taxes to the government during the British period. Tribal people were recruited as tea plantation workers in Assam in the colonial period. Students, the answer for the first statement is false. Second statement is true. Third statement is false. Fourth statement is true. Fifth statement is true. Students, let us recall and recapitulate the points you have studied in this lesson. Tribal communities are the earliest inhabitants of our nation. India is the homeland for more than 700 tribal communities. Tribal communities are living throughout the country with the distinct socio-cultural habits, language, traditions and customs. Cattle grazing, shifting cultivation, collection of fruits, roots, berries, sale of forest products are some of the traditional occupations of the tribal communities in India. Colonial policies such as introduction of forest laws, introduction of the forest department, the penetration of the money lenders, shahukars and other traders into the tribal lands severely affected the socio-economic life of the tribal communities in India. The colonial masters exploited the tribal population through heavy taxation and ruination of the tribal lands. Students, I want you to do this small homework as an assignment. Prepare a short profile of the tribal communities living in your locality, indicating their geographical location, occupations, language and cultural habits. Students, I hope you enjoyed this class. Stay safe, take care. Thank you.